20 things I've learned in my 20s. It's quite the list. There's also plenty of embarrassing things on there. So if you're in your 20s, you're approaching your 20s, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you learn from me, because yes, it's a 10-year period of life where you just pretty much get slapped in the face regularly. I don't know, does anyone have a different opinion on the 20s? Let's call it your decade of growth. Here's mine. Number 1, caring for your central nervous system is the new black. It's the new thing because everyone knows how to overwork. It's actually ingrained in us in America. I would even say it's celebrated. And now we're hitting this big awakening. I at least experienced it in my 20s where I was just like, why do I feel so triggered all the time? Because there's this thing called the central nervous system I didn't really know about. I didn't know how to care for myself and to calm myself down and to live in that state, so when things did occur, I was chill, okay? I'll leave some info about the central nervous system if you're just starting out. You don't have to be a genius, but you just gotta be aware. That's all I needed. It would have saved me so much trouble, that's for sure. Where is it? Someone commented on this quote bullet hole right here. It's indeed not a bullet hole. One of my children just, oh, here's one here too. I must have slammed it with something when it wasn't paying attention. I'm also a mother of 3 and I'm 30 years old. I don't know what that information would do for you, but maybe it'll help. I don't know. Number 2, really simple, really practical. Had to learn this the hard way multiple times, but it's easier to care for one thing than it is multiple. I like to rat out my husband in this scenario. Just a few months ago, he brought home, I'd say it's more of a year. It's a year ago, okay. He brought home a jumbo pack of 40 pens. And he had all the good intentions. Hey, we won't be in need of a pen for a really long time. But I gave it a few months and we didn't know where any of those pens were. But I still have my pretty gold pen that I bought from the Missouri Botanical Gardens 3 years ago. This says something where we're inclined to buy something because it'll make our lives easier and we won't ever have to need it and not have it. I'll talk more about this in a little bit in a more uplifting and inviting way. I just feel like I'm getting too technical real quick. Just believe me when I say you don't need more than one. Like, it's easier to take care of one thing, one brush, one spatula, one pen, one pair of tennis shoes than it is multiples. Contrary to popular belief, minimalism isn't restricting, nor is it bland, nor is it beige and whites. Minimalism is a mindset, and then you act upon the mindset that you have thus adopted. Too many people are afraid of it. If you're in your 20s and you're just overwhelmed with life, consider getting ahead of everyone and simplifying your life and focusing on the things that matter. Minimalism is just living mindfully instead of being whisked away and swayed by every little thing that distracts you or entices you. It's just being sturdy. That's kind of how I view it, like a really strong oak tree. Minimalism. Number 4, let people be people. You know what I'm actually going to add to that is let yourself be yourself. How deep was that for you guys? Came out wrong, but you guys know what I'm saying. I think when I was able to fully be myself, it's when I was fully able to let other people be themselves. This is something that I did not understand for a very long time, particularly in my marriage. This is my marriage decade of life, and I just wanted to turn my husband into something else for so long. Ugh. I was miserable. He was clearly miserable. I've apologized tenfold from when I started realizing that, but actually figuring this out and then living it out changed my life. Changed my life forever. And you know what I found out? Some really cool things about myself. Things that I didn't know about myself because I was trying to be somebody else, or I was too busy focusing on turning my husband into what I wanted him to be. And this is where I want to welcome in the sponsor of this video. I am a minimalist channel, so I'm really trying to focus on not advertising products, but advertising ways of life and experiences. I think those are very valuable. I think Skillshare is incredibly valuable because you know what I figured out in my life when I stopped expecting myself and other people to be exactly what I thought? I really liked plants, and I really liked sourdough bread, and I really liked nature. And a wonderful tool for enhancing these skill sets and these passions for myself was Skillshare. I actually started doing it this year. It's been very transformative in helping me become the more authentic version of Margaret, because I had all these things of like, I was a minimalist and I slowed down because I wanted to focus on the things that matter, and I was doing that, but I also couldn't do it to the fullest because I didn't know how to. Enter Skillshare. It's an online platform with hundreds of classes where you can learn about how to keep plants alive, how to decorate your home, how to start a YouTube channel, how to sell your artwork, how to make sourdough bread. The possibilities are endless there, and it's valuable because it's supporting your authentic desires, which can so easily get smothered when you have high expectations for yourself and or the people around you and what you should be. I love Skillshare because it allowed me to just be like, hey, you know what? I'm interested in knitting. Let me just learn how to knit. Instead of saying like, oh, knitting's kind of weird, but I'm so willing to be weird. Also, I don't think it's weird anymore because it's not. It's wicked cool, okay? A lot of things were exposed in this point. My immaturity, yes, I see it too. My selfishness, yes, I'm very aware. My desire for being authentic, it's growing rapidly. And my love for knitting. Who knows, maybe I'll turn into a knitting YouTube channel in my dreams.
A new little tidbit about Skillshare, they just created a new and improved class system, which includes smarter class categories, the ability to find classes by software and material, and 3 new class topics: creative careers, creative inspiration, and AI and innovation. They're always evolving. Love that about them.
If you're interested in Skillshare, they're giving you a 1-month free trial. If you click the link below, the first 500 people to click that link get that 1-month free trial. It's so valuable. It's free. You're not adding an item to your home. You're adding a skill set, and I think that's valuable. Valuable. That's the word. Valuable. Thank you so much, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. I adore you. I also received this question last time. I will link some of my favorite Skillshare classes that I've taken down below just to get you started if you need a little starting place, but also I really encourage you to like dive into that brain. What do you love? What do you want to learn more about? Voice memoing changed my life. Changed my life. Changed my ability to connect with my friends on a timetable that works for my life. If you don't know how to voice memo, I'm about to teach you and blow your mind. Here we are. The phone, the iPhone. Honestly, I don't have details for if you have an Android, but if you have an iPhone, here we are. Sorry to be exclusive. Press this little plus button here, okay? Then you go to audio, and then it starts recording. You guys, I can film about a 6-minute podcast, honestly, for my friends, for updates. Sometimes it's 30 seconds, like, hey, I really want to go to dinner with you. When can your husband and you meet us? Things like that. But sometimes they ask me how I'm doing. And 12 minutes later, there you go. They have their voice message. So instead of calling them and relying on texting, because I hate texting, it just doesn't work as a mother of 3 little boys right now. You press send, obviously, voila, voice messaging. Life change, relationships, you can handle them via the phone when you're in different states or in different places or in different seasons of life. And if you're a voice memoing like expert, you're probably like, who doesn't have it? You'd be surprised at how many people don't know how to do this. Have compassion on them, okay? Welcome them into this life of responding on your own time. It's wonderful. It's wonderful over here. Busyness isn't good. In fact, I would even say it seriously harmed me. Take that for what you will. Okay, this one actually wasn't supposed to be in here, but this morning I was reading the Bible with my children. We were memorizing a tiny little verse, and I feel like God was just doing what he normally does, making himself known, okay? And I just felt this strong urge to be like, this needs to be in this video. Proverbs 16:24. Gracious words are like a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. If there's something that I learned in my 20s, it's that my words can either hurt or they can build up. There is no in between. For a long time, I thought there was an in between, but it was just all hurt. It was all hurt and all passive and all incredibly ungracious. Like, I could go into detail about my sinfulness and selfishness and desires to control. And this can even go back to changing other people, okay? But what the Lord has taught me in these last 10 years is the importance of my words. And as much as I think that what I say can change somebody and what I say can teach somebody a lesson, it's the gracious words, it's the loving words, it's the kind words, sometimes that people don't even deserve. Those are what heal the soul. It's a work in progress. I'm not saying that as somebody who's figured this out. I'm still learning it daily. I'm still failing at it all the time, but that was an incredibly important lesson that I'm willing to continue to learn and practice for the next few decades of my life. Hot, so hot. I thought it was gonna be a cute shot. Okay, as I make my bed, the next tip, healthy living, holistic living. I dove deep into this in my 20s, okay? I've been the dieter, I've been the stress ball, I've been the annoying person that doesn't do anything in the name of health. But what I learned is that stress is worse. Stress is worse than most of all the healthy things that I was avoiding. This is not the best bed that I've ever made, but it will suffice. So if I could sum up everything I learned about health in my 20s, which I did the deep dive, it's that everyone's body is different. So a lot of people are gonna say, I have the answer for you, especially in the holistic industry. It gets this way really fast. But for you, it could not be your answer. So what I like to do now is just take in information, because I still love learning about health, taking it with a grain of salt, trying things, but not depending on the answer, rather being okay with my circumstance, trying out new things, and relaxing when it comes to health. I feel like a joyful heart and gracious words, those are the most healing things that all of us need, more than figuring out how to hack our health and live in these stressful bubbles of, quote, health. Well, that was me. It could not be you, but that was me. I was stuck in that bubble for a long time. God bless the 20s. Next thing I learned is that if you put your phone out of sight, out of mind, it actually allows you to be detached from your phone. If you just turn it upside down, it doesn't do much. I even read an article recently about this, that if it's within like 10 feet of you, it has this pull on you, even if it's on airplane mode, even if it's off. So putting your phone out of sight, out of mind, I use this beautiful box. You can use a dresser, you can use a shoe box, you can put it in your underwear drawer, okay? But it just takes away the discipline aspect of it. Like, you don't have to have the discipline enough to not look at your phone. You just put it away and then you forget about it. Try it sometime. Number 10, in my 20s, I learned that I don't know everything. For a long time, I believed that I did. And in 2020, I wanted everyone else to believe that I knew everything as well. Turns out I didn't. I think that's all I have to say for that one. But I wish somebody that I knew and loved and trusted would have graciously said, girl, what you're thinking is amazing, but you don't have all the answers. So maybe that's what you need to hear today. I don't know. I would certainly wish that I had heard it. Living knowing that now is much more freeing. I don't have to share everything and feel this pressure to get everything out of my mouth and out of my head and onto other people all the time. Like, yeah, it's much easier over here. Okay, number 11, have you guys heard the song by Dan and Shay, Bigger Houses? I've been singing it a lot to my children because it's just something that maybe is just prevalent where I live. It's kind of the thing to just work for bigger houses. I know it's not like that all over the world, but in my section of the world, it is. I love this song. In the chorus, he's saying, the thing I learned about happiness is it's not found in bigger houses. This is somebody who's made millions in the country music industry. I don't know, give it a listen and just pay attention to what it brings up for you. It was a very comforting song for me in this season of life. I don't know if you know my whole minimalism story, but essentially that was at the root of it. Believing that my life was good if I had a big house. And if I had everything I wanted and I was able to keep up with everybody else. But what the Lord has revealed to me these last 10 years is that that's not where joy is found. Happiness is not found in bigger houses. Yeah, give it a listen. Like I said, this was my marriage decade. I've got laundry on the floor I need to fold. Date nights. I learned in my 20s how valuable date nights are. And even when I don't feel like going, just spending the time with my husband. Sometimes we just drive around. Sometimes we go sit on a pretty bench. Sometimes we go eat some tallow french fries. But life can just get really busy really fast unless you ruthlessly choose to be intentional. And we have a good family friend who comes over every Wednesday. She doesn't charge us a dime. So yeah, that's part of why we're able to do this. But it has really, really protected and helped our marriage, just to spend time and to even look forward to this time together in the middle of the week, every single week. And if you're not married, plan things with some of your closest friends. Like, get out of your routine, do something fun, look forward to something. Date nights are good. That's what I learned in the last 10 years. Date nights are good. My parents did date nights every Wednesday too. That was a good thing for me to see growing up. Seed oils. In my 20s, I learned that seed oils are not supportive to the human body, specifically to the female body. So instead of just eating the sunflower seed oil, eating the canola oil, eating the vegetable oil because, oh, this amount won't hurt me, I'm really trying to get it out of my life in a healthy way, not in a stressed, I'm living in a bubble kind of way. Because when I have to go out and eat somewhere else, I'm not going to complain. That was the healing that has happened in the last 10 years. But I try to avoid them because I know how toxic they can be. And if I want to be a vibrant, healthy, happy mom, I really got to be careful with that kind of stuff and with inflammatory things. So instead of seed oils, I research restaurants that use beef tallow. There's an awesome app for this, by the way. It's called Seed Oil Scout. I'll leave the link down below, but I used it like a month ago and found out that Outback Steakhouse cooks, fries, everything in beef tallow instead of toxic canola oil. We've gone there 2 times on date night since. I know not everything is going to be perfect in that restaurant, and nothing is perfect anywhere, but just knowing that like we can have a decently cheap, fast meal without canola oil or soybean oil or peanut oil, I'm here for it, okay? Go check out your local. I'm pretty sure all the Outbacks do tallow, but just call yours just in case. We use tallow, olive oil, butter, duck fat, pork lard, and more butter. Like, more butter to that, more butter. I think things taste better anyway too, so. Even at restaurants, I say, can you cook this in butter? I'm not afraid to call beforehand saying, do you cook things in tallow? Like I said, I'm not trying to be a stress ball, but if I can just call and ask, I'm just gonna call and ask, okay? And if I go to that restaurant and all they have is seed oils, I eat it and I just take some vitamin E afterwards and all is well, all is fine. I'm not stressed about it. Living in a livable home. This has also been my motherhood decade. I have a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And for the long time, I wanted my home to be perfect and white and clean, and like scrapes on the wall would frustrate me, coloring on the wall would frustrate me. I feel like that's normal. But what I learned in my 20s is that the homes that I love being in are the ones where you can live in it. You can sit on the couch. You can take your shoes off. You can sit on the counter if you want. You can touch things. You can make a mess, but you can also clean it up. I read something about Joanna Gaines one time where she's just like, everything I have can be scraped, can be stained, can be lived in. I want it to be that way because that's what makes a home feel welcoming and like you can be fully yourself. And I love that. I've never forgotten that. And I learned that in my 20s. I learned that with kids. Forced to learn that with my kids. Speaking of kids. Hi. Okay, I counted. This is 9 words, okay? If the jeans don't fit, get rid of them. You're hurting yourself just by keeping them. Like that mental clutter telling you you need to be skinnier, telling you you need to be something else, telling you you're not good enough just by keeping those jeans, that needs to go. I needed to get rid of those a lot faster than I did. But when I did, whoo, did life get better. Like I just felt better about myself, honestly. So we just decluttered the jeans that don't fit. If you guys need any more support when it comes to decluttering your home and learning how to fully simplify, obviously your home, but your whole life, I have a course. It's called Simplify to Thrive that guides you through every room in your house, but also it doesn't stop there. It doesn't even start there because decluttering is so much deeper than just getting rid of things and hoping that you're gonna feel that peace and that you're gonna feel that healing right away. It's a lot deeper. It took me years to figure that out, but I have it all packaged together for somebody that needs guidance.
That's definitely what I wish I had when I started this journey. But I welcome you to just click on the link, read a little bit about it, ask yourself some questions. And if you're in the space to make shifts, I welcome you to it. If you're not, don't even worry about it. Just let it pass by. But I wanted to invite you guys into that without any pressure, without any judgment. Just letting you know it's there.
What if the world had more of your smile?
Another thing about wifehood, the wifehood decade of my life, I think the best book that I read was The Empowered Wife. Everything I read, everything you read, obviously take it with a grain of salt. There are things I love about it, there are some things I'm like, but I think it was the most powerful thing because if you want a thriving marriage, you have to let your husband know and feel respected and trusted. It's part of the submission that the Lord talks about in the Bible that so many people interpret incorrectly. I'm not saying I'm interpreting it correctly, but I just feel like this is the best that I've ever heard it described to me because she explains what men need to thrive. She explains what women need to thrive, and it just gives you the ground rules, the framework for a healthy for a healthy relationship. I've recommended it to so many people, and I don't want to be annoying and be like, read this book, changed my life, it's gonna change yours. That's not what I'm saying, but read it. But it kind of is what I'm saying. Read it, give it a go, okay? Just give it a go. Do you want back? Back. Come. Okay. What I learned in my 20s is that I was a hurried maniac. I thought everything had to be fast, everything had to be efficient, everything had to be done with as much productivity as possible. And what I also learned in my 20s are little tiny ways to slow myself down and how healing that was to my central nervous system. So yeah, back to the central nervous system, but also back to true healing. And I just finished An Unhurried Life, another book, sorry. You don't have to read it if you don't have to read any of these if you don't want to, but essentially Jesus was very unhurried. If we're gonna be like Jesus and follow Jesus, we need to really, really ask ourselves, are we too busy? Are we too rushed? Are we too hurried? Because he was the most important person. He was the savior of the world, yet he wasn't hurried. Is that so great? Just so, you can just see his little head. This is clearly just a list of things that I wish I knew earlier and things that I'm going to be working on for the rest of my life. I don't have it figured out. I don't want you guys to feel that way at all in watching this video. Just learn from my mistakes, okay? Number 18, we're almost done. People are gonna judge you anyway. I wish I would have heard that when I was a teenager. I wish I would have heard that when I was fresh in college. People are gonna judge you anyway, so just do it. That's the verbiage that helped me start my YouTube channel. I was so worried about what people are gonna think of me, and you guys just helped me reach 100K. So I'm living proof that it just, like, people are gonna judge. I know people judge me, but I enjoy it. So I did it anyway. The 19th lesson, there are more lessons than just 20, but these are the main ones. I tried to pretty my way into people's hearts. The law of attraction. I tried to do that for decades and decades of my life and realized that it just left me feeling very empty. When I started asking the question, who do I love being around? Who do I love talking to? It wasn't because they were the prettiest people. It's because they had the best hearts and they cared about me and they made me feel loved no matter what. So moving forward in my life, raising children, being a wife, being a friend, a sister, a daughter, I strongly desire to make people feel loved and heard. And not even trying to win people's hearts, but just caring for them. So I feel like 19 was just like, stop trying to win, start loving. And that leads me to my last one, which is all God's doing, all God has done in my life, all he's done is just love me. The things that I haven't been able to get, the things that we've received, the things that I don't understand, the things that are confusing, the things that are amazing, and the things we celebrate, the things that I grieve. All God is doing is loving me. He's not in the business of passivity and making us feel guilt and shame. He just wants to direct our eyes and our hearts to him. And he's saying, I love you and I want you to love me. My grandma told me that a few years ago. And I, put it in one ear, went out the other. But man, does raising kids shape you and challenge you. And building your relationship with your husband while raising kids, while being shaped and challenged, that was probably the most important thing that I learned. All God's doing is loving me. Hope you enjoyed this list. I don't know everything. You're doing great. The 20s are so important. Just keep asking questions. I'm so glad you're here. I'll see you guys in my next video.
Hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done.